I'm about as real as they come.
All my beats tailored by Joe. House Digital.
Maserati Rick in Detroit. Convertible bird in Miami. Graduated summa cum laude. Strip club made a tsunami. Carlton Hines with the ball game. Grateful Edmonds with the snowflakes. Craig Pettis in the M-Town. Sal Magluta with the boat game. Falcone with the cocaine. Like Freeway Ricky with the plug game. Like Monster Cody in South Central. Larry Davis from close range.
Home invasions, carjackings, chaos.
Tonight, a new picture is forming on why crime may seem like it's out of control in Kansas City.
And it centers on former rapper Fat Tone. KNBC9's Jim Flink is live with new details you'll see only on 9. Jim?
Larry, half a dozen home invasions, not to mention carjacking, street heists, even potentially murder, all of them linked in some way to Fat Tone, that former rap leader who was murdered in Las Vegas. And apparently all of these crimes have something to do with his associates. Just this past Monday, a man was murdered at 55th and College for his hubcaps. Tonight, police are investigating a Fat Tone associate as the possible trigger man.
You keep thinking it's a game, and because you ain't been to KC.
Fat Tone, a.k.a. Anthony Watkins, was murdered a month ago in Vegas. His body found in a bullet-riddled car. Sources confirm his murder has set off chaos in Kansas City's Central Core.
The community is in an uproar, confusion everywhere, violence escalating to some degree.
Police tell us Fat Tone's associates are committing random crimes like home invasions and carjackings, and Fat Tone's enemies are retaliating, murdering his aunt a few weeks ago.
What you see with Fat Tone is what you should not be.
But Tony Caldwell and Mark Porter say Fat Tone didn't have power.
That one person has caused all this havoc because of a weak community.
Their message, it's time to take back the streets.
All it takes is two people on that block, one person on that block, saying it's not going to happen on my block.
Within minutes of the 55th and College murder, the peacekeepers were out in force.
We started canvassing the area.
Within 8 hours, the suspected killer was in custody, sending a message.
If you're going to live in a neighborhood, you got to be a neighbor. You can't be a resident. You got to be a neighbor. Because if you're not a neighbor, the Fat Tones of the world gonna kick you around like a rubber ball.
A rap artist from Kansas City is gunned down and killed in Las Vegas. Tonight, some on the street are wondering, is it revenge for the murder of a West Coast rapper here?
Look at that nigga. I'm the biggest rap star up in Kansas City. I blow 100 on some cars, boy, y'all can't get with me. I'm living large and upsize. My essay got the pop. I keep a bad chick with some hips and pretty thighs. When I was on Deuce Trays, you was on 15s. It's 5 years later, and you still don't have a thing. You locked in jail now, receive no mail now. You mad at the world, so you ready to tell now. Cracking up here, you know what I'm saying? Nigga got a damn near dog in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Nigga repping the soil at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Trying to put it down. See, I'm a straight street nigga. I come from the gutter. You know what I'm talking about? So all my shit be straight real. I mean, everything I'm saying is real from the soil, from the roots up. You know what I'm saying? No fake ass shit. Niggas is really doing this shit up here. All this shit crack, nigga. 24/7 drive-bys, gangbanging shit, all this shit, nigga. It's the soil. Killer City, nigga. I'm repping the death, nigga. I'm still in the hood, nigga. That's how gangsta I am. You know what I'm saying? Nigga in the hood in the biz. You know what I'm talking about? It's real. Selling houses. You know what I'm saying? Set them up, dumping them, nigga. We got enemies enemies buying CD. All that shit. Like you said, we squashing the funk, though. Me and my niggas is squashing the funk. It ain't no plan, it ain't none of that. It's real. It's real life, nigga. It ain't no just rapping, nigga. We been through this shit. Nigga curve serving and doing it big. Back when my nigga Boom was down there hustling. 24/7 in the jet. Parking, you know what I'm saying? All through that motherfucker. Nigga. It's real, cuz we repping the soil, nigga. KC, nigga. Better get up on it, Fat Tone, nigga. Repping hard to death. Fuck the world, nigga. 5-1, tatted for
Good evening,
life.
everyone. That murder last fall in Kansas City is still unsolved.
Now, a Kansas City rapper named Fat Tone is killed in Las Vegas. Peggy Bright is live at Kansas City Police Headquarters with the story. Peggy?
Kelly, police here knew him as Anthony Watkins. But in the world of hip-hop, he was known as Fat Tone, a 24-year-old rapper who, for sometimes reasons that he did not want, made a name for himself both locally and nationally.
You keep thinking it's a game, and because you ain't been to KC.
He's among the most popular local rap artists, touting 5 CDs, including this new release. But after the murder of Mac Dre, Fat Tone's name began circulating in hip-hop magazines and websites as a possible suspect. Kansas City police followed the sites, but never considered Watkins more than a person of interest. Now Fat Tone is murdered while visiting Vegas. The two murders, months apart, have similarities.
Mac Dre was found in a car, shot to death. The car wrecked, went off the highway, and essentially the same thing happened to Fat Tone.
Activist Alonzo Washington wrote commentaries for hip-hop magazines after Dre's murder. He was concerned that the rumors would generate more violence, and now it has.
When you have an equation of violent music, people with a violent background, and rumors, it can ultimately add up to a real-life homicide, and that's something that we all should try to prevent.
Watkins has a lengthy criminal history, most recently arrested earlier this month. He was also charged with the murder of pregnant teen 3 years ago, Shamika Posey, but charges were later dropped. Now people both outside and inside the rap world want the violence to stop.
That's not needed. If you're going to do this particular music for your particular income or whatever, do it. But keep out the violence, keep out the madness and the ignorance.
Now, Fat Tone was shot in Kansas City a year and a half ago when he was leaving an interview at a local radio station. He survived that. Las Vegas police are still looking into the motive for this shooting. Another man was killed as well. We're live at police headquarters. Back to you in the studio.
Yo, we back. It's your boy Popalot. Mobb. We on our way to Missouri with it. The show me state. We headed to Killer City with it. All my guys from KC, y'all get in the comment box, y'all check in. I know I don't get around here as much as I should with as much gangster shit as going on. Y'all be careful, the murder rate always high around this bitch. Now, today we are going to be covering a person who I would consider to be a Kansas City legend. And the person that I'm talking about is a guy by the name of Anthony Watkins, but the entire Kansas City and pretty much most people in the Midwest know him as Fat Tone. Now, Fat Tone was an aspiring rapper, and some people would have said that he was known as a Kansas City standout star. And he was affiliated and repped the notorious 51st Street neighborhood in Kansas City. Now, Fat Tone had begun dropping music in the early 2000s. I want to say his first project was titled Killer Tay Presents Fat Tone, a.k.a. The Vet, only in Killer City, and that was in 2002. He followed up with The Stick Up Kid in 2003, and then I'm Gonna Get You in 2004. And through the process of that and the music, and really the relationship that the Midwest had with the West Coast, and publications like Murder Dog, if y'all familiar with that, it's kind of something like The Source, but for the West Coast. That brought Fat Tone a close affiliation with a lot of West Coast rappers. Now, one of those rappers happened to be one of, if not the most popular rapper in the Bay at that time, and it was a person that needs no introduction, Mac Dre. Now, following the release of his 2004 Sky's the Limit mixtape, Mac Dre was murdered in November 2004 on Highway 71 in Kansas City. Now, it wouldn't be long before rumors would begin to circulate about who was behind the murder of Mac Dre. And because of Fat Tone's reputation, the popularity he was gaining, and then certain things that he was doing, like his lyrics for a certain song, I flip niggas' cars off the highway bridge in the same fucking night. I call and tell they kids. Also not disputing the rumors that he had something to do with the murder of Mac Dre. And it's crazy because Fat Tone actually had music with Mac Dre, one of the songs being Cutthroat. So it was wild that he wouldn't refute these rumors. But A lot of the speculation that went on at that time was that Fat Tone was real big on his reputation. And though he might have had nothing to do with this, he was not going to go out and refute this, because this, in a sense, would make his name bigger. And when I think about it, I can't help but force myself to think, is this one of the earliest instances of clout chasing and it going wrong? Now, Fat Tone, no stranger to being named for notorious acts. 3 years prior to his death, police would charge him and another man with 2 counts of murder in connection with a drive-by shooting of a pregnant 17-year-old girl by the name of Shamika Posey and her fetus, but charges would be eventually dropped. And according to John Liebentz, who was a spokesman for the Jackson County's prosecutor's office at the time, said witnesses became uncooperative. No witnesses, no case. They were forced to dismiss. Witnesses were afraid to come forward. They were afraid for their lives. Now, when most people think about this incident, they mainly think the people that lost their lives were just Fat Tone and Mac Dre, where that's not the case, because when Fat Tone was killed back in May of 2005, he was murdered alongside a gentleman by the name of Jermaine Cowboy Atkins, who was only 22 years old at the time. And they were found shot to death in a construction area near Southern Highlands, and that's going to be in southwest Las Vegas. Now, at the time, police would begin investigating whether those killings were the latest round in a reported battle between Midwest and West Coast gangster rappers that will be reminiscent to the East Coast West Coast wars that took place in the late 1990s. But besides those 3, a person that rarely gets mentioned is going to be a female by the name of Lee Danae Laurelson. Now, what makes her important to the case is police are going to describe her as a prostitute from Utah, but they would also go on to describe her as the girlfriend or ex-girlfriend of Jason Mathis, who was the guy that was charged with popular rapper Andre Dow, a.k.a. Mac Minister, and the murder of Fat Tone and his friend. Now, police would go on to say that she was given information that she was in danger, and they will offer her outs to get away from California and head back to Utah, and she would decline that. Fast forward to November 2nd, 2005, and that's going to be where Mathis, along with Mac Minister, would be arrested for the murders of Fat Tone. Now, subsequently, 2 days later, Lawson's neighbors would report hearing 4 or 5 gunshots, and a jogger would end up finding her in the gutters. Now, Sergeant for the Fairfield Police Department, a guy by the name of Dan Picture, would go on to say that there had been information that Lawson had met with Mac Minister a few hours before she had died. Now, both Mac Minister and Mathis would go on to be sentenced to life at trial, where prosecutors would depict that they lured Fat Tone and his associate to the construction site under the behest that they would be performing and opening up at a concert for Snoop Dogg in Las Vegas that night. Now, a lot of people would say that this could have all been avoided with Fat Tone just denying the murder of Mac Dre, and a lot of people don't believe that Mac Minister is the person responsible for the murder of Fat Tone due to the circumstances of his case with his lawyer, or a former lawyer that represented him, having something to do with him being convicted, as well as testimony from a known confidential informant. So this case just has layers, but it's definitely one of the most notorious things that loom in the city of Kansas City, and it goes down in infamy in the city. But y'all know what it is with me. Y'all make sure y'all hit the subscribe button right under this video. Y'all make sure y'all follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, POP_A_LOT. Y'all make sure y'all get in the comment box below and let me know what cities we ain't been to, what stories we missed, what gangsters we ain't covering. We right on it. Y'all text me, call me, tweet me, email me, CC me, mention me, tag me. However y'all want to go about it, I'm with all the shit. It's your boy Popalot. Mobb, Mobb, Mobb.